What's up, guys, gals, non-binary pals, and none of the above? This is DL bringing you a analysis of the player auction from the Draft Premier League Season 3. This is a league very similar to the Smogon Premier League. If you're watching this, you probably know what it is already. But basically, it's like a team tournament, and it's an 8-man format as well. So we're on the third season now, so most people are pretty known at this point. But I still don't know very many people, to be honest. I was drafted for the first time season 2. I got like 60 question mark reacts, and John W. said that my name is Draft League, so that's what people call me now in DPL. That's sort of a classic. Anyways, there's quite a few teams here with some interesting rosters. I guess it's sort of become a meme to make these videos now, so I figured I'd hop on the train. The first team here is the Crusaders, captained by King L5 and Dougal. I was drafted to this team once again. It's on their team last season. L5 and Dougal are pretty good captains. Dougal wasn't really around very much last season. I don't know if that's going to change this season. L5 is pretty active. He's got, for sort of his own input, but a pretty solid captain core. I guess most of the teams have good captains. L5, I'd say, would be considered the stronger player of the two, but Dougal's pretty alright as well. For the first pick, they got Moran Varane at 20k. Returning to the team from last season, Moran's pretty solid, 2-time DPL champion. Maybe not considered the strongest player out there in DPL. Like, he's good, but I guess you wouldn't really put him at the elite tier. People say that he's a build support type of player, like good for morale. He is very active, that's for certain, and he's definitely very willing to help people, which is good. He does have sort of his own style. Me having teamed with him before, got a good idea. He's got his own tastes and things. So Moran, I'd say, is a solid pick at 20k. I guess you'd expect him to get a record like 5-3 or so, sort of at that like 60 to 70% win rate. So pretty solid pick for that. But you're picking him a lot for being able to help other people, not just win games on his own. And next there's a Count Riario at about 30k, 29.5. Probably a slight overpay, people are saying. Something like 25, 26k would probably be appropriate, I guess. But Count Riario was on our team last season as well, so I wouldn't call this an overpay. Like, I'd say this is affordable for sure. People are saying like, oh, Count Riario, but Rain got nerfed in Gen 7. Oh, like he didn't only play in Gen 7. Like he played a lot of ORAS for us as well and did very well. He had some incredible season. I think he was like 8-2 last EPL season, so a very proven player in the format. So pretty strong start with the two captains and two of the top players returning. Unfortunately, we couldn't get draw 15 again since he's captaining the team Bibs. Next, there's Word Life. I don't really know this guy very well. He's a little weird, not gonna lie. I don't know. So apparently, he's a good player. I've never seen him play. I know my friend Blaze from my home league KSL did say he got his first ring by beating Word Life in finals. So, shout out to Blaze. Apparently, this guy's been banned from a lot of like servers and leagues and stuff. So I'm a little wary about him. I don't know. He's a big wild card for sure. High Jump Sean. I don't really know this guy much either. He seems nice enough. Got good input so far in building teams. I don't really have much else to say. Alex Coolrock, I actually know quite well. He's a friend of mine. We have a lot of mutual friends. He plays in my league. Alex is pretty good. He's been improving. I'm a little surprised he got drafted, if I'm being honest. I know he is too. But I guess this is really his chance to prove himself. Do wish he was maybe a little more active in the server, though I think he was pretty busy this past week. So maybe that'll change. Liam Nunes, this guy was on Crit City last season. I watched a few of his games. Very solid player. I'd say maybe even a bit of an underpay at 10K. So very happy to be teaming with this guy. YGG, I always voted for this guy in the pick'ems last season. He was on Baguette Gang. Very solid player. I believe he had a pretty good record. He definitely went positive. 7.5K is a pretty nice price. I don't know how much he'll be active as a team presence. I think that was a big concern everybody had. Like how much English does he speak? He speaks English, but I don't know. I guess it remains to be seen how he'll sort of fit in the team dynamic, but definitely a very good player. Vino, I don't really know this guy either. Vino seems pretty nice so far. Somewhat active. 7K. I mean, you can't like massively overpay for somebody at 7K. It's not that different from 5K. Next is Commonly, also returning to the Crusaders from last season. Probably an underpay at 9K. Commonly's a pretty established player. That's something he's definitely got going for him. Like, Commonly is not going to go like 0-5. Like, I'd expect Commonly to win maybe like 40 to 60% of his games. Definitely like a consistent player. Then we got myself, DL. 5K. I mean, I went for less than last season. Last season I went for 7.5K. I think a lot of people went for less this season, though, to be fair. People are drafting a lot more players. I don't really know anybody who went for more this season other than like Count Riario and Kaz, who got picked up in mids last season. I went 3-3 last season. Should have been 4-2, but I got brutally hacked with a freeze one game. That was terrible. So I think I had a pretty solid season, and maybe should have gone for more. But it's better to go for less because that means your team had more money to spend on more good players, and so your teammates will be better than if you had gone for more. So going for more money is only a pride thing. We got Baconborn. Originally we had Levine Ma. Bacon seems pretty cool. He's very active so far. Nice guy. I don't know many players, to be honest. People say he's a good player. Definitely good pickup for 5K just based on his activity alone, especially considering the giant roster size of the Crusaders. I think being a good teammate can often be just as valuable for a lot of the players as being a great player, because we're not going to be able to play like half of our team in a given week. So next up we have the Brodom W's, captained by Hiker and Jake. I don't know, these guys love their hot takes, I suppose. Just gonna say they did bid on me last season, so enough of that. Jake and Mike are good players, I suppose. Owen, I like Owen. I watched a lot of his YouTube videos. It kind of makes me sad to see Alomomola all the time in his YouTube videos, but I'm not really sure how good he is at playing other styles of teams, to be honest. I know he had sort of a shaky start last season and then turned it around after being picked up at mids by Baguette Gang. Yeah, I don't know how he does with other styles of teams, but he's been around for a long time. Very good player. Mayo. Don't really know this guy very well. People are saying this is an overpay. I guess it probably is. Jarrett Legault. He had a solid season 1. I don't remember how he did season 2. But 25K seems like a rather high amount. But while this team might have some overpays, I think it's interesting the strategy of having an 8-player roster plus the 2 captains, where like people you play each week would theoretically be stronger than a team that spreads its budget. So that's an interesting perspective. We got Random. I don't know this guy. Sadel. This is a lot less than he went for last season. Apparently he's toxic or something. I don't know much about him, but definitely something to keep an eye out for. But apparently he's a pretty strong player, so 5.5K is a pretty serious underpay. Don't know Versify. Don't know this guy. Pesky. Pesky I know is pretty established, been around for a while. Like that type of player. Like you know they're gonna not just like poop their pants in the middle of a game. 7K is fair enough, I'd say. Alright, next up we got Zero Fox Given, captained by Genius X and K-Crick. K-Crick I know is one of the best players in draft format history. I don't really know Genius X. Vesuvius, I don't really like this guy. Extremely toxic. Next, John W. Very good player. The person who started the Draft League nickname. I think he went for the second most of all players. The thing that concerns me about paying this much for John W. It's not that he won't play to a quality that matches the amount he's going for. But the question is, how much does he care, and like how active is he going to be? Because I think when you're paying like 36K basically on a player, it's not just for the wins. Like the GOAT or whatever over here went 4-4 last season, partially and not entirely to his own fault. But like you can't expect a player to just carry with all the wins. What you're supposed to be able to do with a player that you make basically a focal point of your team like this is to have them contribute throughout, and apparently it's just a big question mark of how much John cares. Supposedly he was like in Africa for a lot of last season, so he only played like 2 games. So that was a big overpay on him. But yeah, I'd say like whether or not this is a good price to pay for John depends on how well he contributes. I think this is supposed to say based Techno, but Techno also a very good player. I know he kind of dipped during season 1, and so he was banned for season 2. But they got two of the strongest players in the format right here between John W. and Techno. Carson, I don't really know Carson. Dark. So I teamed with Dark last season. Dark's a very respectable player, very solid. 12K is about a fair price. That's what people said he should have gone for last season. I guess he's not as active in chat as a teammate, but if they have other players here to contribute that way, that should be good. But between like that, the big question mark that is John W. and the toxicity of Vest, I do kind of question what the team morale is going to be here at Zero Fox Given. I don't know any of these 5K players. Next up, there's Tinted Titans with Zern and Specs King. Apparently, Specs King is a giant meme. I don't know how good he is at all. I mean, I know he beat like Joey or something last season, but apparently it was a horrible matchup for Joey. Zern, I know some people don't like this guy. That's all I really know about him. Metal Fighter, I actually got to play Metal Fighter last season. I know he's very well respected. I don't think he honestly played that well on our game, but he had the luxury of playing a 5v6 with rocks up already, so that kind of made it easy on him, thanks to a first turn Ice Punch freeze. So I don't think he's bad or anything. I mean, he was able to play safe, so he didn't have to win a bunch of plays, but I don't really know how good of a player he is overall. Ace Trainer Josh, I hear a lot of good things about this player. That's all I can really say. Sablo. Sablo is good. I've seen him win some games, lose some games, but 15K seems like a good price for him. I don't really know Jay Slank or Ricepool. Virgie, I also played Virgie last season. This is a good player. Good price at 10K. Don't know this guy, don't know TDG, don't know Not a Please. And this is kind of what it was like last season watching the draft analysis. If people like draft DL, person's name is Draft League, I don't really know this player. Yeah. Now I get to do the same thing, because I'm the random making the video. Next up we got the VBC Kings, captained by Gypsy King and Matty Brolick. Obviously, two of the most well-known players in the format as captains. Matty Brolick might be a bit washed up. Some people think he's, based on the distance from the peak, might be the most washed up. Another candidate for that, I guess, would be like LeJon Flames. But I think this is obviously a very good team. A lot of people were really hoping to be drafted by them. And managed to pick up Aki and Zazo, so they have Mount Rushmore. Zazo is a fantastic player. Got a lot of respect for him. 36K I think is definitely a worthwhile price for him. Though, everybody always asks, is he going to care? I think he will care. I mean, he did very well last season. Even when he memes, he wins a lot. So, and if these guys, since they're all friends on the team, between Zazo, Aki, King, and Matty Brawlock, they should be carrying because they're all together, I think. So that should be an appropriate price. Aki, of course, is another great player. Love Chance had a very good season last season, I believe, for Baguette Gang, one of their shining stars. So glad to see that. I believe he got a higher price this season. We don't really know Rye. Jeremy, I've heard of this guy. I heard he's really bad at tiebreakers. That's all I know. But 6K, I mean, I don't think he's going to be playing any tiebreakers for this team anyways. Don't know this guy, don't know this guy. Silver Smasher, I know he went like 6-3 last season. Everybody was like shocked that he would have fallen so late in the draft. But people were saying he also like hacks a lot of his wins. So I'm not really sure how good of a player he is. Blue, this was a captain of V Creators last season. Another one of the memers. Next up, we've got Kakuna Ratada with Jolt and Shuckle King. Jolt's a good player. Shuckle King's pretty solid. This should be fine. I know Jolt's fairly active in the community, the draft league community, so it should be a fine captain duo. Don't really know this guy. Don't really know this guy. Sticks. I've heard quite a few bad takes on Sticks that he thinks he's much better than he really is, like him being toxic, him having a big ego. This is, from what I've heard, quite the overpay for him as well. So I'm not a fan of this pick. TCMT, this guy's on Baguette Gang. I don't think he did quite as well as he hoped for last season, but I heard Baguette Gang was kind of a circus, so maybe he'll do better this time. Also getting Yorkin from Baguette Gang, I think one of the better players they had. Don't know him, don't know him. Troy's pretty good. I've seen him around in a couple of servers. And I think this person got replaced for refusing to play for them. So next up we have Bibbs, captained by Draw 15 and King Sky. If L5 and Dougal hadn't nommed me, Bibbs was planning on getting me for their last pick. I would think I would have been pretty happy. I like their roster here. Draw is a fantastic player. One of my favorite teammates from last season for sure. King Sky is kind of juice, but he's interesting. Blunder, very established smoke gun player. I watched a lot of his videos. He's a great player. I think with some good teammates on his side between Draw, Kaz, Panther, who can help him know what to expect in terms of sets, then he should be fine because he's obviously good at playing, but he's going to be vastly lacking in metagame knowledge. What are sets that these Pokemon tend to run? Or maybe he hasn't looked that deep into Pokemon's move pools, because you can run some interesting tech in draft, and some sets are very popular in Draft League that you would never see on like Smogon Ladder. So that's gonna be the hard transition for him. They didn't spend too much on him, like 15.5k. It's not like Joey going for like 40k or whatever last season. So this shouldn't be a drastic overpay. Techno, I actually do know this Techno because he plays in Kaz's league, The Lodge. He's a good player. 7k, I'd say, is a fair price for him. I know people are thinking that Sky got debated. This isn't base Techno, but this is still a fine player for sure. Panther, I know he's good. 12.5k seems fine. Kaz is a really strong player. One of my good pals. The best mid-season pickup of last season. Basically carried Crit City to the playoffs and to the finals. 23k, definitely an appropriate price, especially for somebody who's going to be very familiar with all three generations. Next we have Elliott. I don't know this person. I heard they're a steal here, or Aurora is a steal. Blitz, I know, did quite well last season. Kind of fell kind of late into the draft, but still fetched a decent price at 15.5K. But I quite like this roster here in terms of how they distributed their picks. A couple of 5Ks that I don't know here at the end. This would have been me if Crusaders hadn't snatched me first. Yeah, between like Draw or Sky for the captain, then Blunder, Panther, Kaz, Elliott, Roar, Blitz, and then like Techno. I guess on board 7. Like, this is a very, very strong team, I think. Next up, we have Trick of Eye, who didn't have a very good season last season. People attribute that largely to them picking up a lot of tryouts. They had a lot of players who performed very poorly. Went like 0-5, 1-5. Just not good. This time they have Illusion in the captain spot instead of Lejon, which saved them quite a bit of budget since Illusion went for much more than Lejon did. But in exchange, instead of getting to play both Eye and Illusion each week, they can only play one of them. Lejon, 11K. Some people say this is disrespectful, but I mean, this guy, I did get to play Lejon last season. He lost a matchup that was heavily in his favor. And a lot of his counterplay came from bluffing a set that he actually wasn't, like bluffing Scarf Mammoth Swine, when otherwise you'd have just basically got 6-0 by Garchomp on the spot. So, not really. I mean, he was very good before, but he has struggled a lot in DPL. So, some people say this is even an overpay, and I guess you could say that basically anybody who hit this price, this similar price, is probably a better player currently than Lejon is. Next up is Loki P. One of the bright spots for Trickabite last season. You know, he did very well, and he is a very good player, and he deserves to go for somewhere in the 20s, but 30K seems like a bit of an overpay, especially if we're talking about the role that your top priced player is supposed to play. Loki P is good at preparation and building, but he does not. He builds things that you would not expect other players to know how to use correctly. So I'm a little wondering how. Yeah, because I don't think that his preparation will be well used by his team. Next we have Money Guy. I don't know this guy very well, to be honest. I heard this was maybe a bit of a high price. Narth, I've seen a couple games of Narth. Heard good things about him. 10K, that was okay. Kirk, I hear this is an underpay. Don't really know him. Ray, another one of the good players for Trickabye last season. 14.5K seems a little high for him. I guess I would have expected something like 12. But he's very good. U7 Gohan, happy to see him drafted. I've seen some good things from him. And I think he'll do pretty well this season. Phil Nilsson is a meme. You know, love the guy, but he's a meme. Ice, I also got to play Ice last season. He's a respectable player. Definitely deserved to be drafted. Ben has done pretty well so far in DPL. Definitely deserved to be drafted as well. I think they got some pretty nice picks up here for cheap in these last 2 picks. And I don't really know Skyhorse Tamer. Next, we have a controversial team, Alakazam IQ, captained by Wombo and Halu. They did not draft any players for a very long time in the draft. You can see they have a ton of budget left. They had more than, I mean, less than this, but Ricardo apparently refused to play for them. He was their first pick. So that's unfortunate they're losing Ricardo. But yeah, this is a weird team. Halu is a weird guy. They have the max roster size. Word is that like these people are all going to be like mock slaves for the team, basically. most of their team went for 5 or 5.5K. It seems like a massive mismanagement of budget. I mean, if you're going to try to hold on to some cash at the end and get players cheap, you should probably use the rest of your money to get a really strong player, like, to take advantage of the fact that you have a bunch of budget, or that you're planning on getting some quality players on the cheap. But they didn't do that. Their most expensive player is Ziff at 18K. Bronson's good. Simeon, I know they picked the Simeon up as like a mock slave, I guess, but I played in a league war against Kara, and apparently she like chewed out one of her teammates who lost to me, and I'm a little questioning how good of a team presence that'll be. Roscoe's a meme, Baby Eric's a meme, Legits is a good player, GCS, very good player actually. That was a very good choice for them to pick up in place of Ricardo, and I don't really know the rest. And that leaves our last team, the 5'11s, captained by Leo and Harris, 6-foot hacks. Jacko, very good player. I think this is one of the players that definitely deserves this price. Papa Max, very good player. I saw him play Owen recently. Very saucy, Delissa Pod gameplay from him. I got lots of respect for anybody who uses Pod. Lapis, good player as well, and good chat presence. Youngster Bill also has done very well in DPL. I think this team also did a good job of part of getting a strong but small roster, especially with some of the cheap picks that they made. So I think a very good top-heavy team here. Ace of Base I've heard good things about. Hydra, that's my boy, co-commissioner of the KSL with me. To my teammate last season, I helped him get drafted. He didn't have the best season last DPL, but he's worked very hard to improve since then. People have more respect for Hydra now, I think. He definitely deserves to be drafted. Looking forward to hopefully playing against him. DPL admin, please rig that matchup. Love you, Hydra. Then there's Ian MC97. I don't know him. Nico, I believe I played against Nico last season. But I was not in a very good place at the time. Going through a lot of pain after the unfortunate killing of my friend earlier that week. So I don't think I can really evaluate that game at all. But if it's being played by a team in the playoffs, in the finals, then you can't be that bad, right? So that's going to be all. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed draft analysis from somebody who's basically still random. And the name's Detroit Leprechaun, by the way, not Draft League, but you can keep memeing. Alright, see you. Bye.